20 minutes for presentation, 10 minutes for question and comments. The first paper is the corporate governance and audit report timelines, evidence from Middle East and Africa emerging economies by Dr. Ahmed Al-Abouni, Dr. Muhammad, and Dr. Muhammad Bismi. Start with the first paper.
Good afternoon. First, I have to say that I'm very pleased to present my paper in the conference. The paper is authored by Ahmed Al-Abouni, Ihab Kamil, and Muhammad Bismi. And the title is Corporate Governance and Audit Report Timelines, Evidence from Middle East and African Emerging Markets. So actually, we have our variables in the title and our definition. Our variables are related to corporate governance and timeliness of financial reporting, and our populations are firms that construct the index, which is called Middle East and Emerging Markets of Africa. First, outline the introduction, hypothesis development, methodology, definition of and measurement of verdicts, hypothesis testing, and summary and conclusion. First, with the introduction, we say that corporate governance mechanisms can be very effective in solving agency problems. And this can be done by promoting for improved transparency and high quality of financial reporting. Transparency and high quality financial reporting can be measured by some variables. One of these variables is the timeliness of the financial reporting. And timeliness actually can be measured using a variable which is called audit report lag, or the AR. The audit report lag, our paper, is defined as a span of time between the fiscal year end and the audit report release. And we use this measure in our report as a proxy of timeliness. We have many studies that have discussed the timeliness of financial reporting in both developed and non-developed countries and developing countries. But most of these studies have focused on firm-specific factors or audit-specific factors. In our research, we have corporate governance factors as well, and we see this relationship with timeliness. We have three groups of variables: board structure variables, ownership structure variables, and other control variables. We see the relationship with audit report line. So we investigate what? We investigate the extent, the nature, the determinants of audit report line. And this is done in companies that constitute the Standard & Poor's Middle East and Africa Emerging BMI index, and the BMI is the Broad Market Index, an index that constitutes and taken from many countries. Before I start, I have to say that audit report lag is opposite to timeliness. So timeliness, as a measure, we measure by audit report lag, but they are opposite. So timeliness is enhanced with shorter audit report lag. The countries that constitute the index are South Africa, Egypt, Morocco, Qatar, and Emirates. So these are the 5 countries that constitute our index. In the hypothesis development, we have 14 variables, and the variables are: first variable is board size, whether it is good for audit report lag and timeliness to have a large board size or a smaller board size. According to the literature, large boards may have benefits, which it may include more independent directors with more experience. But it may have some problems. So some studies indicate that large-sized boards meetings may be less organized, and this may reduce the chance of effective communication and participation. And this effective communication and participation may affect decision-taking process, actually, and may delay some important decisions. The results of the literature are mixed. One of the studies, or some studies, found that large boards are ineffective in performing their oversight duties compared to smaller ones. Others found that board size is positively and significantly related to financial reporting timeliness, while others, when assessed the relationship between board size and timeliness of financial statements, didn't find any relationship. So actually for our variables, most of all have mixed results, and this gives us the chance to make the research. In our hypothesis, we hypothesize that there is a relationship between each variable and the timeliness of financial. The second variable is board independence. So according to the literature as well, it is expected that the ability of board of directors of monetary management is improved when the number of independent board members are increased. So actually, when the monitoring increase and much more effective, it may affect auditors. So it may affect the assessed level of inherent and control risks positively, reducing them. And this makes audit process much easier to the auditor and taking less time in performing the audit and releasing his or her report. The third hypothesis is CEO duality. It is when the CEO is the chairman of the board at the same time. So according to ACC theory and corporate governance mechanism, it is recommended to separate between the two roles. Because according to the literature, duality, when there is duality, it is more chance to have earnings management and both to be completed. So in this case, there is some kind of risk. Fraud, earnings management, and for the auditor, it is much riskier. So it may take more time in performing the audits and releasing the reports. Some research found that CEO duality is significantly related to audit report lag. Others found no relationship or insignificant relationship between the two factors. Regarding the board diversity, actually I have focused on one dimension of diversity, which is gender. So it is assumed that female directors may have an impact that is comparable to the role of the independent directors in the board of directors. But the literature does not agree with that. So some suggest that because of disagreement between diverse members, the decision-making process may be slower. And this disagreement may reduce the importance of the role of the female in the board, making the role is insignificant. Actually, few studies in this regard, and this makes the sign of the relationship between board diversity and board performance not clear in this regard. Ownership concentration. Some studies think that firms with higher ownership dispersion are expected to supply more timely reports, because here there is some kind of pressure from the owners or the management. So the firm that has more dispersion of ownership, they have pressure to disclose their financial reporting earlier, and this pressure is imposed by the owners. So the management in this case will encourage the auditors to finish the audit report much earlier because of this pressure. Regarding direct ownership, In some firms, we have large direct ownership. So in this case, the directors have access to financial information and lower pressure may be imposed on auditors regarding the time of releasing the report. It may be expected that companies with higher level of director ownership tend to have, longer audit report time. So the pressure is imposed by the director to the external. We don't have any hurry up to issue the report, so it is much longer audit report. On the other side, it is the family ownership. It has some characteristics. Family ownership have greater incentive to protect the wealth, to have concern about their reputation and value, and agency problem is not very real in this case. In this case, only the family the owners have inside information, but the auditor is only exposed to those owners, not for other owners, not for the public. So in this case, it is much relaxed, believe that less risk is regarding these firms, so he may release his audit report much earlier compared to non-audited, not owned by firms. So here, some studies found that family ownership are expected to have shorter audit report lag because of the less pressure imposed. Regarding institutional ownership, the institutions have something in common between them. Institutional investments are usually large in size, have greater resources, has financial expertise, and this affects that his power of enforcing the management to release the financial reports much earlier, because he will use his voting power to make this pressure on the management. They can enforce the management to disclose financial information in the appropriate time for his own benefit. What is the case of governmental ownership? Usually, it suggests that firms with major government ownership are less exposed to the market risk and less exposed to the market of the corporate governance mechanisms. In this case, we can argue that timeliness of financial reporting in the governmental owned firms is lower. Actually, according to the literature, we have inconsistent results here. The inconsistency is that they found that firms with government as the largest shareholder have shorter reporting lag. So again, we have all the very comprehensive results which give us chance to meet. One of the values we have discussed here is related to the third characteristics. So we have values related to corporate governance and some other values related to firm characteristics. One of the firm characteristics is audited by. Is it the firm audited by Big Four or non-Big Four firms? So it is believed that Big Four firms are more motivated to retain their reputation in the market. And they have well-programmed audit procedures. Also, they have better access to more advanced resources that they can hire well-trained and competent staff. In this case, we can expect that Big Four audit firms provide higher quality audit, and higher quality audit may result in reducing the time of releasing the audit report. Again, the finding here are mixed. Some found no relationship, some found that audited by Big Four are reducing the lag, other found increasing the lag, so we have mixed results. For the industry side, if we thought about industry as financial and non-financial. In financial firms, like banks, they can use highly centralized automated accounting systems, advanced accounting systems like ERPs. And they have fewer non-financial assets like inventory, property, plant, and equipment. This is incomparable with the manufacturing firms. So we have another factor that financial companies are usually required to follow more enforcement regulations compared to industry. So we may expect that many studies found that audit delay in the banking sector is less compared to other industries. Profitability of the firm, which is another specific factor for the firm. Here we have two cases where the firm has a profit, or the firm has, according to the agency theory, managers of profitable companies are more eager to disclose more timely information. And the reason here is the need to realize some personal benefits, like promotions. So the other side, firms with losses, usually try to avoid disclosing the bad news because it may affect their reputation, so they may delay the report. But firms experience losses tend to delay their financial statements in order not to move the bad news to the market. Results found some significant negative association between audit delay and firm. When I say negative association with audit report delay, I mean positive association with timelines. So they are positive. But other found no relationship at all. So mixed results as well. The leverage. It is expected that when the amount of debt increases, firms become more exposed to the debtor. In this case, for creditors. In this case, creditors, especially when our institutional creditors, may pressure on the management to release the financial statements and the audit report much faster. And thus, it is expected that companies with high level of leverage will try to fulfill the creditor needs by issuing the financial reports much faster compared to the other firms. For the firm size, common characteristics of large companies, usually they depend on stock market to get funds, and they are monitored by investors and regulation agencies, so they have pressure here on them. So they tend to be more effective in internal control systems, and this may companies usually have enough resources to hire Big Four and high-quality auditors. In this case, they may issue their financial reports and audit reports earlier once they or soon after they finish the year. So these were our variables. Regarding the methodology here, the population of this study consists of all firms that constitute standard core Middle East and Africa PMI index. Actually, we selected the year 2013 to get our data because this was more complete on collecting our data. So we managed to get 238 companies, and these companies are divided into 10 sectors. Only 3 companies were not included. So here are some figures to show that these are the 5 countries. The largest number was from South Africa, 139 firms, and the smallest one from Morocco, 12. The 10 sectors, the financial companies, we have 91 companies, but we have only 2 companies from the utility sector. The data were collected from annual reports and websites of the firm or websites from the stock markets. Actually, we examined the effect of 3 groups of variables. Variables related to board structure, variables related to ownership structures, besides some control variables. And the effect of these variables on the audit report lag. So our dependent variable is audit report lag. We have 4 independent variables under the board structure which are board diversity, CEO quality, board size, and board independence. And we have 5 variables under ownership structure, which are direct ownership, ownership consolidation, institutional ownership, governmental ownership, and family ownership. And finally, we have 5 control variables or company-specific variables, which are return on assets, which is a proxy of profitability, firm size, auditor type, leverage, and industry type. We have some descriptive analysis or statistics here. This is the average audit report delay in days by country. The largest one was Egypt with an average of 86 days, and the lowest one was Qatar with an average delay of 47 days. Regarding the sectors, we get the average audit report delay for the 10 sectors, and the longest period was for the information technology. And for myself, I was surprised for that. The healthcare was just 50. We made four groups of audit report lag. The first group, that firms that report their financial reports in a period up to 30 days, from zero, which is not realistic, up to 30 days. We call them early submitters. And the group from 31 days audit report lag to 60, then 61 days audit report lag to 90, and third with audit report lag that are more than 90 days. And we have 17 firms that are early submitters that submit their audit report in a period that is 30 days or less. But we have the firm with audit report like that is more than 90 days, 43 firms. To test our hypothesis, we have the following very simple model here with the audit report lag as the dependent variables and the 14 independent variables, 4 regarding to board characteristics and 5 regarding to ownership characteristics and 5 regarding firm-specific factors. The results show that we have only 5 variables out of 14 were significant. The variables that are institutional ownership was significant on the 10% level. Government ownership was significant at the 5%. Auditor type significant at 1%. Return on asset, which is profitability, was significant on the 5%. And finally, firm size was significant on the 5%. Our model was significant according to the F-test, and our adjusted R-square is relatively low, which is 11.7%. To conclude here, actually, the 5 countries have efforts to have good corporate governance codes, but they need more efforts to make sure that these codes are applied. So the importance of our paper actually is derived from the fact that it extends previous studies, and we said that previous studies just focused on audit specific types or firm specific types, so we added the corporate governance specific types. Especially, we concentrated on these countries, the 5 countries, standard for Middle East, African emerging markets. In our opinion, that if we need to attract investors, so we have to show them our timeliness, information, and transparency. So this is that our results show that institutional ownership was positively significant with audit report lag, but governmental ownership, audit type, firm profitability, and firm size have made them significant effect in all. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for this presentation. I want now to open questions and comments for this paper for about 10 minutes. Introduce yourself before any question, any comment. Any question about this paper? Yes.
I'm Farid Ismail, Professor of Accounting here in University. Thank you, Ahmed, for this presentation.
Introduce yourself.
I have to present myself. I'm Professor Farid Ismail from Cairo University, Department of Accounting. Actually, the paper, we have a nice paper, but at least I have some questions. The first one concerning what about variable concerning the number of meetings. As you might know, the number of meetings of the co-presenter might affect that one. So I think yes, you can give the model doing a factor analysis. You put as much as many factors, and with the factor analysis, select the most affecting models. Secondly, most of your variables, the combination between the ejection theory and signaling theory. That's why this might conflict the results. That's why in the results you found very few factors that had a significant impact on the finding. The third one concerning what's called the regulations. You have different countries. Okay, all of them are affected, but as you might know, in every country there is some government regulations. So I wonder if you can, it's possible to future research, you can add a variable that reflects the regulations of that country to see whether the same company might be working in technology, but this company in South Africa, it might differ than if it is located in Egypt or in Syria or in Tunisia or Qatar. So the company itself regulations might affect the timelines of the video. I have noticed that the regression analysis missed the non-controllable variables. Should add the E at the end of the equation.
Thank you very much for the comments. It is very good comments, but to improve. I need to say something about number of meetings and audit comments. It was not easy for us because we hand collected our data. So that's why we have these data were much easier to collect. Not all firms disclose the number of meetings. So we try to make
at least don't give the door open for questions. Because I'm as a leader, I'm interested in this area, I might say it's fine. So just take notes that can be taken, but the lack of data, we only this one.
For the third comment, which is related to countries. Actually, we try our to extend our group to include some culture factors. Economic work. When we think about this is really work. We are going to but because we are trying to implement on Hubstat and the 4 dimensions of Hubstat. Just one culture, think about the pattern without scores. But later we found try to make scores. So we are encouraged with
research.
More questions? No other questions? I would ask you to explain the law RSQ about 17% or
we were concerned about this aspect. So we thought about increasing the size, but we can do that with the end because the end has limited number of companies. So in order to increase the size of the study, we can have not only 1 million. This first. We try to have, if we increase the segment, we can increase the number of people. So increasing the size can affect the RSQ. And we think that this is a good sample. We need to divide the sample into groups and make the analysis for each group. We have the analysis for the early submitters to see what the doctor asked and the decisions. And make the same analysis for the late, which are more than 90 days. So we have different risks.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Yeah, any question, Dr. Farah?
Governance index. You can take the governance index according to the different countries. But you see what is that of that the score on the findings of the report.
Yes, the same problem that the scores I have access to. I have a book where I don't remember the name, but I have scores for some specific areas of the world. So we find the 3 countries of the 5.
You can build up your index. You can build up your list and can take manually. Yeah. Can do it. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Can you give us summary in 2 minutes in Arabic?
هو المعلومه المحاسبيه اللي المفروض انها تبقى مفيده للمستخدم، فعشان تبقى مفيده للمستخدم في خصائص بتعرضها المعلومات المحاسبيه. من ضمن الخصائص دي اللي هي اصدار المعلومات في الوقت المناسب، ما اقدرش اقول الوقت المبكر. فالوقت المناسب اللي هو برايمري فاينانشال انفورميشن، عايزين نشوف ايه العوامل اللي ممكن تؤثر في الوقت الزياده والنقص عشان نركز على الحاجات اللي بتحسن عشان نقيس الوقت المناسب. اخترنا متغير اسمه الوقت اعداد تقرير المراجع، الوقت بين نهايه السنه الماليه
كده حجم المنشاه بلد الريم بتاعها ماشي
واخترنا المتغير ده عشان نقيس بيه عملنا المتغيرات بتاعتنا 3 مجموعات.
اسمح لي يعني بيدرس تاثير القرارات على السنه الاخيره تبين ايه
في 5 متغيرات: الانتاج الحكوميه والانتاج اعضاء مجلس الاداره في البورد.
تاثير ايجابي وتاثير سلبي؟
لا، كان التاثير كويس، يعني لا معنى ان هذه العوامل تؤدي الى تخفيض
الاكثر ايه؟
ممكن التأثير الأعلى كان نوع المراجعة، يعني مراجعة أكبر 4 شركات ولا لا، فده كان أعلى تأثير لا يعني يحسن الوقت. اللي بعديه في 3 متغيرات ما اقدرش ان انا اقول مين اللي قبل التاني. الحكايه الحكوميه تحسن هنا بالنسبه للدراسه. الربحيه كل ما الربحيه زادت غالبا اصدار التاريخ بيبقى اسرع، ده متوافق مع نظريه الجنس الثاني. حجم الشركه عكس ده برضه كويس، كل ما حجم الشركه كبر كل ما هيبقى فيها مصادر موارد اعلى تقدر تعين مراجع حسابات احسن ولا تقلل الخطر. شكرا.
Regarding board directors, why was the board?
Which one? Darcy?
No one was the board director. Yeah.
The problem that I can't hear.
The board of directors are present. No one of these
I have no explanation. Usually, your explanation could be related to the sample. The problem that we can explain something and at the end, you increase the sample size or remove some outlier, your results are changed. Okay? Actually, we can explain the significance much more that there is no relationship. Okay? That's it. I prefer to have positive and negative relationships than no relationship. Sometimes I can't explain. There is no relationship. I can't explain, and I can repeat my equation with change of the sample size. In this case, I can have change in the variables that are significant, so I can have no. Usually explain why they are significant. Unless it is the main theme of your paper, I need to have some significance and big find. It is risky to have one value, that's why I have.
كان في بحث كده بس كان على التكاليف، من نفس الفكره كده. يعني نظم التكاليف، هل المنشاه تتوقف على حسب الحجم واكثر حسب عمرها وحسب كانت تعيش فيها وحسب البيئه وكده، فنفس الفكره وهذا البحث يعني كده في المكان. شكرا.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. I invite now the second paper by second paper. The second paper is the quality and the quantity of corporate social responsibility disclosure of UAE banks. Pre-post US financial crisis analysis by Eli Minasa and Nancy Gaber Professor Eli Inata is the Dean and Associate Professor of Accounting, Faculty of Business Administration and Economics, Notre Dame University, Louise Deputy. Dr. Vanessa, start the presentation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You must be hungry by now, so I'll keep it short. My presentation is about the quality and quantity of corporate social responsibility of UAE banks. By quality, I mean the type of disclosure and the quantity for sure here we're talking about the extent and the level of disclosure of the corporate social responsibility activities of the UAE banks.
And from the results, we found that affecting the CIR, which is the frame size, has a positive effect on the large countries, affecting the CIR, the leverage as well, and the ROE, which is the profitability. So from the 5 determinants, we have a significant relationship in 3 of them. And we have some conclusions from the reviewing the paper and discussing the results with the literature review.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad. Thank you very much for the presentation. Now, our third presenter is Ms. Abir Hassan. She is from Finance and Law Division, University of West of Scotland Business School at UK. The title of her presentation or paper is Stakeholders Interactions in Corporate Social Responsibility Disclosure Practice, Evidence from UK Financial Service Sector and their Customers. Right. In 15 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you see, my name is Abir Hassan. I'm from the University of West of Scotland from UK. But before this, I am a Cairo University graduate in 1986. Got my preliminary courses in before master from Cairo University. Got my master degree from Cairo University. Preliminary degree for PhD from Cairo University. So I'm really very happy just to join here and just to give presentation in my home country. And of course, this is my home university, Cairo University. The topic I'm going to talk about is the stakeholders in interaction and corporate social responsibility. I know that everyone of you had enough from corporate social responsibility from this conference, but I will just try to take this into consideration, and I will talk about stakeholders engagement. What does it mean, stakeholders engagement? Every time we just write some papers, send it to any journal, they just kind of most of the reviewers coming back saying we really need something to be involved for policymakers and for instead of just calculation and statistical techniques and stuff, because not everyone is really understanding or academic or having a PhD or something. So that the people in business, they really need something to reflect on business, how we are going to take that. All my papers that I published in corporate social responsibility and environmental management, I have taken it from company's point of view. And then since 2008, the KPMG issued the reports about corporate social responsibility. And one of the issues that they're supposed to talk about is stakeholders engagement. And if you think about the stakeholders engagement, you see Yes, we really know that there is a financial information and non-financial information, and there is a separation between economic profits and the social performance, or economic performance and social performance. But if you think about it deeply, you find that profits really affecting by stakeholders. Because if you think as us as a customer, if you decide not to buy the product, the company will not make any profits. So I will just borrow the example that Professor Sabai just mentioned in the previous session about the meats in Egypt here. The customers really decided not to buy meat, and this is the stakeholders engagement. And this is the I have taken this from for my research, and by the way, this is still a working in process paper, it's not finalized. So I decided why everyone just kind of, if they do a piece of research, they either quantitative or qualitative, focusing only or collecting data from companies, or if it's a qualitative from CEOs or from this or from that. I really wanted to just to mix between both of them. So I decided to collect data from company websites or from companies, and then reflect this on a survey of customers. So I picked up the financial service sector, and I picked up customers from a stakeholders group. So this will be the presentation content: the research gap, research idea, research aim, research methodology, and bank's results, and the survey results. Previous research, all the previous research, I've just classified them into two groups. As I mentioned, the first group is just kind of focusing only on companies' perspective, what the companies are doing, how they provide disclosure, how they do whatever they are doing, whether they are doing a content analysis, whether they provide information in standalone corpus CSR, or integrated in the annual report, or a website information only, or the other group who are already focusing on the stakeholders, or focusing on CSR or customers or something from a stakeholder's point of view. And these are mainly qualitative research, kind of interviews and stuff with customers, with employees, whatever. But I have decided just to kind of take this research and cover the gap and investigating the stakeholders' engagement from both companies and stakeholders' point of view. Unfortunately, there was a fantastic video here, but for some reason I couldn't do it. And in the video, it's from YouTube about RBS, and just talking about their policy and the customer engagement, how they do the customer engagement. And you can see from the video that they are the lady from RBS, which is, of course, this is the kind of the executive from the executive team or from board of directors, and then the head of the digital group is, of course, one of the department that engaging and doing design this kind of software and stuff, and the customers. So of course they are taking the customer feedback into consideration. Customers is thinking about what they think about banking, or how do you deal with banks and stuff. They take the feedback and they started to work on that. If you think about it, you find they will never ever satisfy customer needs without training employees. And this is what happened really in the company in banks website. So the research aim is to assess the extent to which UK Big Four banks are utilizing the benefits of customer engagement. Research methodology, as I mentioned, we've examined the 4 UK big banks report type. We examined 2007, 2009, 2012, and 2014. Why this gap? Because I have decided actually just to drop the financial crisis, because of course with the financial crisis, they really all banks they are very keen about what's going on the financial crisis. They might not be focusing on CSR, but of course we are aware now they are everything under one roof, and they are related to each other. The second part of the methodology, or the second stage, we have conducted a survey with 220 customers in the UK. And of course, one of the main questions, as you will see later, whether these customers are banking with the 4 banks, RBS or Barclays or HSBC and stuff. Up until now, we haven't finalized the hire processes and stuff, but this is I'm presenting here the initial results or the first step of the descriptive results of the paper or of the project. So the individual bank results, as you can see, we have here, of course, to carry out a content analysis and collect information or collect data from banks. We have designed a disclosure index based on the literature review and the stuff, but we have, of course, removed all the items that's not applicable to the financial service sector. So our disclosure index is classified into four categories: corporate governance, credibility, environmental performance indicators, and customer engagement. And when we decide the customer engagement, we really spend some time because we had a discussion with customers. We had a discussion with employees for some in some banks just to develop our kind of the disclosure index for customer engagement. We came up with 9 items in the customer engagement, and then we have just kind of for the disclosure, we just kind of 0 or no 0 if the information doesn't exist, and 1 if the information exists. And this is the results for the total information disclosed for the banks. And then for customers, after we finished with that, we designed a survey, and we spent some time because collecting surveys now is really nobody is have time just to spend something like 10 minutes or something to do how many minutes? 5 minutes? Okay. So I have here just kind of summarized all the variables from the survey. Age, we have kind of variety of age, and we have the education level, and we have we focused on the 4 banks, and one of the very important variables that I included in the survey, whether the customers have previous education in CSR or not. Because now in the UK, in each course in the business school, in any business school, the students might have a module or a subject or a course on corporate social responsibility. And of course, when we distributed the survey for this, of course, some of them were students or graduates or masters or unemployed or employed. And honestly, the level of education on CSR affecting our results somehow. So I think the main point now is educating stakeholders. So if any country started to educating the stakeholders, starting with customers, for example, and this is what Royal Bank of Scotland has done. They start with educating the customers how to complain or how to say, I'm not happy with so and so, or how to say, can you do this for us? Because if the company didn't know what the customers need, they will never be able to respond to them. And I think these are, and also the stakeholders engagement variables that we have developed for to collect the information for banks. We have taken the same 9 items and asked the customers to provide their attitude or whether they are happy or strongly agree, or of course on a scale. And most of the results that we have got is really very encouraging. But of course, age is a factor. CSR education is another factor. Occupation is a factor. So all these factors are really giving us very interesting points. I will finish here, but before I finish, I know that you are going to ask me a question, but I will show a question to you. Think about it. We really are up to the point. We are not sure whether we are supposed to carry face-to-face interviews for something like between 20 and 30 customers from the same 4 banks, just to collect more qualitative information about what they think or whether they have responded to their inquiries and stuff. Because, for example, I will just give one example. In one of the 4 banks, they said it's now they started to provide the products and service for both current customers and the new customers. Because, for example, for banking, I'm banking, for example, with HSBC, and sometimes I see these are the offers for new customers. I get jealous because why am I'm banking with this bank for something like 20 years now. What is the point? What I'm going to benefit? I understand that banks really need to attract new customers, but you should look after the current customers as well. That's me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I think Mrs. Abir assured us that our output and our graduates are up to the international levels and standards to continue their research. Now the last presentation, and take care, it is extra presentation. It is not mentioned in the book. It is added to this session. Is Ms. Reem Assam. She is from Cairo University, Faculty of Commerce, and her paper is about earnings management using classification, shifting of extraordinary items. Abir just finished her preliminary PhD classes, and she, this is here. Sorry. Reem, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon. At the first, I would like to thank Dr. Rahim Salam for
Use the microphone. You use the microphone, yeah, Reem. Yeah. Aywa?
First, I would like to thank Dr. Salam for introducing me, and like to thank the audience for attending this. The title is Earnings Management Using Classification Shifting of Extraordinary Items. Generally speaking, earnings management is one of the most studied areas in financial accounting research. Many studies provide evidence that there are many approaches of earnings management. The first approach, accurate earnings management. There was many papers in this area, like Patricia Rico, 1995. And the second approach of earnings management, real activity simulation, also Patricia Rico and Solomon Stein, 1991. And the most recent approach of earnings management, classification shifting, which was introduced by Sarah McVeigh, 2006, and also Ken 2010. I will give brief about each approach. First approach, accurate earnings management. The most common approach of earnings management. Basically, managers can improve current earnings from future periods from accelerating revenue or decelerating expense. This method of earnings management will reduce future period earnings that were accelerated current periods. Many studies in this approach. The second approach, real activity simulation, and this approach manager tries to increase earnings by giving price discount or increase sales or cut discretionary expenses such as R&D and advertising expenses or overproducing inventory. At this point, I stop. Remember a moment when I asked Dr. Ahmed Safar when I was in PhD about price discount or sales given sales is considered as earnings management, and I asked him about the responsibility of external auditors to take this kind of earnings management. As you remember, he told me it's announced scam all the people knows the company makes scam, so it's not considered as earnings management. And I agree with him. Classification shifting, the third approach of earnings management, which I focus in this paper. The main idea of this approach is managers try to manipulate core earnings by shift expenses from up to down to increase core earnings to special items, or other way to shift revenues from down to up to increase core earnings. In this approach of earnings management, core earnings doesn't match the real core earnings, but it doesn't change government income. It not consider gap finance. Generally, managers practice earnings management by three ways mainly. I can explain by a sample example. First, for example, the company at the beginning target is 100. Actually, she gained 110. The company will report 1000 on 1000. This offer will keep it for the next year, which called cookie jar. The scheme for the next year may the company can achieve that target. The second way of earnings management, the second way of earnings management, same, the company target is 100, she gained only 80. She will be made bump up by accelerating revenue or accelerating expense to attach the target and reward 100. The third way of earnings management, target 100, gain 60 so far of that of its target, so it's big bad. It's considered too difficult to manage to go and live in earnings management to reduce the gain to 40 and keep this difference for next year. This paper focuses on classification shifting and extraordinary items. The importance of the study. Why classification shifting, not actual based management or area activity simulation? For many reasons, lack of studies in this area. Second reason, doesn't change gap areas. And management with gap areas, they are good simulating. All the simulation and the core areas. It doesn't reduce areas in future periods. All three methods of areas approach reactive simulation and accuracy-based area management and classification shifting increase expectation of future performance. Accuracy and reactivity will reduce the areas in the next period. Classification shifting in contrast with this approach. Why extraordinary items? And extraordinary items attract his attention from the investors, editors, and external users. Why extraordinary items is reported in aggregated form? It's unclear for investors or financial statements user to what allocated to extraordinary items. This study investigates whether extraordinary items are used for classification shifting. The research hypothesis listed to research hypothesis. Managers engage in classification shifting using extraordinary items to increase core areas. Data and sample selection. Due to the sense of capital market in Egypt, I used all listed firms in Egyptian stock market from period from 2007 to 2010, and the sample stock in 2010 due to political conditions in Egypt at that time. Financial institutions were excluded from the sample, and the study considered 5 observations in each study, in each industry to make sufficient pool to measure classification shifting. Finally, the total sample, full sample has 244 fairly observations, presenting 61 fair. Measuring classification shifting. This study follows the 2010 methodology to measure classification shifting. It depends on decomposing core areas and unexpected core areas and expected core areas. Core areas is defined as net income before extraordinary items and depreciation, calculated as sales minus cost of goods sold minus selling and general administrative expenses scaled by sales. Unexpected core earnings reported and predicted core areas. And here is the first model, core areas calculated as this equation, and core areas for the previous year, and assets return over plus actuals. Here actuals are several actuals, operating actuals, net income before extraordinary items, minus cash from operating, scale by step, and delta sales and negative delta sales. It takes delta sales if delta sales less than 0 and 0 otherwise. To test, to test our research outside hypothesis, it's predicted there's a positive relationship between unexpected core earnings and extraordinary items. There is a possible increase in core earnings due to improvement in operating. So it's predicted to a negative relationship between unexpected change in core earnings and extraordinary items. I use control variables size, company size, and actual, and operating from cash and ROA, returns on assets. Finally, regression results from that equation 3, the coefficient of extraordinary items, positive and significant, stands for 0.756. Its result is consistent with the research hypothesis. This to make sure this increase in core areas due to manipulation or representation shifting rather than improvement in innovation, there is a negative relationship between unexpected change in core areas and special items. Finally, provide evidence consistent with the classification shifting using extraordinary items in Egyptian terms. Further studies, timing, and incentives about classification shifting.
Thank you. Thank you. We will have now about 10 minutes for discussions, questions for our 4 presenters. So the floor is open for questions in any order you would like. دكتور أحمد، مفيش ميكروفون هنا يا جماعة، فين الميكروفون اللي كان معاك يا وليد؟
For read, I would like to remind you that
listen.
I would like to remind you that considering something as a way for earning management is a matter of judgment. It depends on the circumstances and surroundings.
All right. دكتور سعيد بليز. انا هقول دايما دكتور سعيد، انا ما اعرفش حكايه محمد ابو العزم اللي انت طلعت لي فيها دي، ابو العز. طول عمري اعرف سعيد الشحات مش يلا اوكي. بروفيسور سعيد.
She was wondering about why we started on this form of earning management, shifting the items above the line and below the line is not so common compared to other forms of that. Did I understand this right? Did you say this? Yes. My explanation is that it's very hard for the reader of the statement to discover earning management through either accruals or real manipulation. That's very hard because this would require inside information, internal information, which is not available to outside. As for the shifting of items below the line and under the line, any financial analyst with reasonable experience will be able to reclassify the income statement. I can reconstruct the income statement. If I find extraordinary losses, above the line, I will push it down to under the line, and vice versa. So it's relatively speaking easier to discover than the other times. However, of course, the companies go around this by concealing the nature of the item, and they extraordinary items are extraordinary, unusual, and infrequent. But they can claim that it's frequent or it's usual in this kind of business. And so that's my full explanation. But beyond this, I have no idea.
Thank you, Mr. Said. Mustafa, please.
Actually, I have two comments. First one is to Raj. Thank you for your presentation, and you have said the but I think if you can add one variable to your model, which is the risk management system, which is not the bank, whether this factor might affect the interaction of the customer concerning the social reporting, or this might add a new dimension. Yeah, as the because the risk management factor or system or strategy might affect that one. Yeah. The other comment is concerning the student, concerning the risk.
Yes.
Actually, not only because in this area, actually I have did some work because in 1999, and we already started my work, but I think that because I arrived to the presentation at the middle, I don't exactly catch what are the values, but I have heard that we use 5 models, 3 of them to reflect data reporting and the other for social media. I believe that the factors that might affect the reporting might differ than the factors that affect the social media reporting. So pulling all together in one pool would rise the result. So I'm not question what's the differentiate between the factors that affect that one and the other one. Even if they try to calculate the internet reporting score, it's wrong to pool all together. You should select a score for social media reporting and another score for that one. But we can extend the research. We are concerned with the quality of reporting, not just the extent of reporting as well, because there are too many factors there, but what we mean for that quality of reporting and what the method is supporting to other stakeholders. It's just a proposal.
Thank you, Dr. Kari. Any response from someone? Yes, please.
I totally agree with you about the first part. As you told us that we should add both of them together in one model. And that's what exactly we've done. That is great. Because the first 3 models, one model for the content excluded, the second one for the format, and the two content format. This is for the website. And the other one for the social media and social network. So we have elements for the social media and social network, and another elements for the website. And we've already done that in our game. So we've done that.
Okay.
This is enhanced the quality of the internet discussion. Okay?
All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah, maybe this point was not clear in the presentation, so now it's clear that you.
It's already in the folders of the
all right. That's because of the time I could not hear you. All right. Yeah. All right. Any other questions or comments, please? Dr. Samir?
sorry, I know we're running out of time. So I'll make it very quick and short and to the point. The first thing to our Japanese college who are presenting at the beginning, one of the conclusions he came to is that as the economy improves, the fraudulent account would increase. Well, this something has to be really tested, especially if we're talking about governance, because it doesn't matter whether this is small shop or big shop, but it matters the system that already, at least this is my impression. Okay, for our dear colleague Amir, there were 4 variables she was trying to test the stakeholders' engagement effect. But apparently she is taking 3 other variables as control variables. Is that correct? So, so what I'm advising you to do is make sure that these are the other 3 control variables. Because of this one are relatively close in both, so that the difference can show with regard to this This is all I want to say.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Thank you. I think this will add some to this in-process research that you just mentioned. Any other questions, comments? I hope that this session opened new perspectives for our researcher and new ideas, and to add new dimensions also to our researchers. Thank you all very much for your presence and your patience and your comments. Thank you. الحمد لله